Flashback 1. I met her in high school. The first time we met, she was called out by a teacher and punished standing in the corridor, crying alone. I happened to be turning in homework and heading to the office, and I saw her the moment I stepped out the door. Back then, I was a hormone-charged teenager who liked to tease girls. So I grinned and approached her. Hey, a beauty in tears. Who knew this small girl, no taller than my shoulder, would slap me across the face? Slap. She spat at me. Pervert. I stood stunned, holding my homework, unable to react for a moment. By the time I recovered, she'd already run off, which infuriated me. From that moment, I remembered this person. I swore that next time we met, I'd teach her a lesson. 2. Later, I asked around about this person and learned her name was Jade, a student in the neighboring class and something of a loner. She had decent grades but was unpopular with teachers and classmates alike. In the busy school campus, she stood alone. Sometimes I thought maybe I should just let it go. A man can bend and straighten. It was just a small slap after all. But fate is sometimes strange, forcing us to keep crossing paths. Our second meeting was after school. After I finished my assigned cleaning duties, I discovered my partner had snuck off to an internet cafe. Damn bastard. I cursed and resignedly grabbed a mop to wash in the bathroom. By the time I was washing the mop, the school was nearly empty. Everything was quiet. I could hear drip, drip sounds of water and occasionally soft sobbing from a girl. Wait, a girl sobbing? How the hell is there a girl in the boys' bathroom? A chill ran down my spine as several school horror stories flashed through my mind. Namo Amit Babuda. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Under my sincere prayers, the sobbing finally stopped. Just as I was about to breathe a sigh of relief, the silent bathroom suddenly made a creak as a door opened. Holy shit! I was startled by the sudden noise and instinctively looked toward the sound. Then I saw the most terrifying sight of my life. A thin, deathly pale hand protruding from the last stall in the boys' bathroom. In the silent, dark bathroom, the sound of fingernails scraping against the door sent chills down my spine. I trembled, running through all my past misdeeds in that moment. I even imagined tomorrow's headline. Shocking. High school boy found dead in bathroom. Is this a moral collapse or a distortion of human nature? While my mind was wandering, a weak voice came from behind the door. Help, help me. Then the pale hand withdrew, pushed, and bang, a long-haired girl tumbled out. What the hell's going on? The girl collapsed on the ground, her long hair covering her face, her clothes soaked, her body trembling weakly. Without thinking, I ran over to help her up. In the light, I clearly saw her face and was surprised. You? What are you doing here? This girl was Jade. Jade seemed too weak to answer. Not that I expected an answer, she seemed to have a fever. I needed to get her to the hospital immediately. 3. That day, I carried Jade on my back and rushed to the nearby hospital. After getting her registered and admitted, when I found her again, she was lying in bed, staring blankly out the window. Seeing she was awake, I found a chair and sat beside her bed. Hey, how did you end up like this? Jade didn't speak, lying there motionless like a broken doll. I frowned and, noticing her soaked clothes, tentatively asked, "Were you bullied?" Since Jade was a girl found in the boys' bathroom with soaking wet clothes causing a fever, I couldn't think of any other explanation. At my words, Jade reacted. Her gaze shifted from the window to my face, then she closed her eyes. "What's it to you?" "Hey, how do you talk to someone? I just saved you." I was somewhat angry. My good deed was repaid with a cold shoulder. Jade ignored me. She lay there with her eyes closed, quiet as a porcelain doll. Looking at her, I realized she was actually very beautiful. Small face, long eyelashes, fair skin. Pervert. Suddenly, Jade's eyes snapped open, and she glared at me with some embarrassment. Caught staring at a girl, it was awkward any way I looked at it. I stood up to leave. Anyway, my mom's calling me home for dinner. Just as I stepped out the door, behind me came her weak voice, very faint, but I heard it clearly. She said, "Thank you." 4. The next day at school, I specifically asked about the neighboring class and learned she hadn't come to school. Well, running a fever that high, of course, she'd need to rest for a few days. But after school, I saw her. She wore a white dress, and the summer wind billowed it high, like a blooming flower. I was stunned and walked toward her. "You." Before I finished speaking, she hurried forward. But after just a few steps, she stopped and occasionally glanced back at me without seeming to. I thought she probably wanted me to follow her, so I quickened my pace. Among the crowds leaving school, we naturally walked one before the other. No talking, no eye contact. Yet I somehow knew she wanted to take me somewhere secluded to talk. Whenever I ran into friends, I'd chat with them, and Jade would quietly stand aside, pretending to admire the scenery while actually waiting for me. This way, we eventually reached a place with no one around. "What did you want to talk about?" I asked once we stopped. Jade didn't speak. She simply pulled an envelope from her backpack and handed it to me. I took it and opened it. Inside were several crumpled bills. After giving me the money, Jade turned to leave. I called her back, shaking the envelope. "What's the meaning of this? Don't you think it's enough?" She looked at me confused, then clenched her backpack strap awkwardly. "It's all the money I have." Realizing she'd misunderstood, I quickly explained. "No, why are you giving me money?" "It's for the hospital visit yesterday," she said. "I need to pay you back." She was small, standing before me with her face slightly upturned. Sunlight fell in her eyes, twinkling. I smiled slightly. "Forget it. I'm like a volunteer. Volunteers don't take money." I pressed the money into her hand, but she stubbornly refused. "No, you have to take it." I pretended to be angry. "You ever seen a volunteer who takes money? Aren't you insulting me?" But she had a small frame and a stubborn temperament. When I wouldn't take the money, she kept pushing it toward me with determination. I was out of ideas. Eventually, I took the money. All right, I give up. How about this? I'll treat you to something good tomorrow." I pocketed the envelope and grinned at her. Unexpectedly, Jade firmly and seriously refused. "No." Her bright eyes looked seriously at me. "Don't come find me at school, and don't tell anyone you know me." "I don't know you either."
5.
She really meant it. After that, Jade treated me like a complete stranger. When we occasionally crossed paths, she'd walk past me with her eyes straight ahead. Every time she brushed past me, I felt inexplicably like I'd been coldly abandoned. Annoying. So one day, to get even with Jade, I called out to her.
Hey.
You look pretty decent. What's your name? She ignored me and kept walking. Unsatisfied, I called after her. Didn't hear me? Let me ask differently. Do you have a boyfriend? Haha. A friend from the neighboring class burst into hysterical laughter beside me. A boyfriend? Her? Haha. I frowned uncomfortably, not understanding why my friend was laughing so loudly. What's so funny? She having a boyfriend is strange. Brother Ethan, I gotta say, you're always oblivious. How don't you know about this major scandal? What scandal? I asked. My friend leaned in conspiratorially, pointing at her. Know why nobody likes her? He lowered his voice. Because her mom does that kind of work. You know what I mean? He stared at Jade's silhouette swaying in the sunlight and licked his lips, his tone lewd and regretful. A whore's daughter is a whore. If she didn't have that disease, I'd have already. Before he could finish, my fist was in his face. What the hell are you doing? I rushed at him again, punching repeatedly and hard. Clean your fucking mouth. The hallway erupted in chaos, screaming, teachers being called. My sworn brother from elementary school tried to pull me off.
Ethan?
Ethan, stop. This mess ended with me being called to the office. The teacher asked why I fought. I was furious, cursing the bastard I'd sent to the medical office. He said Jade doesn't he know what kind of person he is? How dare he make up shit about her? My anger subsided at the teacher's calm gaze. In that moment, I suddenly understood why she always stood alone, why she was so adamant about keeping distance from me, why she pretended not to know me. Actually, she'd already heard all these rumors. She knew no one in this big school would help her. So she chose silence, kindly distancing herself from others. The teacher sipped his tea and slowly asked me, "What's your relationship with Jade?" I clenched my fists, then loosened them helplessly. We're nothing. I don't know her. 6. My mom came rushing in, hit me several times, and forced me to apologize and pay compensation. Then she rushed back to work. By the time I finished writing my self-reflection, the sun was setting and the campus was empty. Stepping out of the office, I looked up and saw her. She stood quietly in the hallway with her backpack. Seeing me come out, she took a step and left. Without thinking, I followed her. Just like that day, she led the way while I followed behind. This was our unspoken agreement. Jade led me through the winding campus and finally brought me to the teaching building. At the top floor, she stopped, pulled out a keychain from her pocket, and swish, swish, opened the door. I stared in shock. Where did you get a key? The school had locked the roof access to prevent people from going up there. Jade calmly pocketed the key. I stole it. I was silent. This girl was bold. She dared steal the roof key. Jade confidently walked to the railing and stretched her hand out to feel the wind. Following her lead, I also went to the railing and looked out over the campus. on the evening breeze, her words reached my ears. Thank you. Thank me for what? Thank you for standing up for me today. Her voice began to quaver. I don't have that disease. I'm clean. She started by just leaning on the railing, but soon she was hunched over it, quietly crying, her shoulders trembling. Seeing Jade like this, my chest inexplicably ached. Almost without thinking, I moved closer and gently placed my hand on her thin shoulder. If you need to cry, then cry. I won't laugh at you. I paused, then added, I know you're clean. Clean face, clean clothes, even a clean soul. Jade finally couldn't hold back and broke down crying. From that day on, Jade finally admitted I was her friend, even if she still wouldn't interact with me on campus. But that was fine, because whenever there was break time or after school, she'd be waiting for me at our secret base. Jade and I ate lunch together on the roof, did homework, and chatted. I told her about my friends, explaining I had several sworn brothers from elementary school. We're 4 brothers, and I'm the second oldest. She'd listen to me attentively, with her cheek in her hand. Once I finished, she'd share her own life. She'd talk about being from a single-parent home, raised by her mother alone. How her mom wasn't actually in that profession. She did work in those establishments, but only to earn more money to support her education. She stretched out her hand toward the unreachable blue sky. Ethan, my mother works so hard just so I can study more and escape this small town. So, I won't give up. I won't be defeated by rumors. I'll help my mom escape this place together and see the vast world beyond. Speaking these words, Jade glowed brilliantly, dazzling. I knew this small town couldn't contain her. 7. Recently, I'd been smiling more often. Sometimes I'd laugh randomly while eating and spray food on Preston Mercer. Jace Bradford finally couldn't take it and hit me on the head, trying to knock me back to reality. Ethan, you got a sweetheart. A sweetheart? I thought of Jade glowing brilliantly that day on the roof, and despite myself, I lowered my head, my smile uncontrollable. The 3 brothers started teasing. Oh, definitely. So Preston Mercer sat beside me and put his arm around me. Come on, Ethan, tell us. What's her name? Which class is she in? At that time, I really wanted to tell them my sweetheart was named Jade, a conscientious and kind girl from the neighboring class. But I remembered Jade's earlier words. She wanted to focus on her studies. I couldn't disturb her too much. In the end, I made up excuses to dodge their questions. Later, I often thought that if I'd told them back then, if I'd mentioned Jade's existence, would things have been different? Would Jade still be alive? In hindsight, I was just too foolish.
8.
This secret friendship with Jade lasted for a year until a few months before the college entrance exam. Suddenly, Jade started avoiding me. During lunch and after school, the roof door was always closed. She disappeared somewhere. I didn't know what happened. Once, I almost rushed to her classroom to ask, but just as I reached the door, she shook her head at me across the crowd, her expression anguished. I knew she was begging me not to push her. And I didn't have the heart to push her. In the end, I could only dejectedly give up and wander the campus aimlessly. Occasionally, on impulse, I'd see her talking on her phone and sometimes leaving campus after school in a direction that wasn't home. During that time, I became withdrawn. When Jace Bradford invited me out. Let's find some fun, come on? I'd shake my head. No entertainment could cheer me up. I just wanted to find Jade and ask why she was avoiding me. Finally, one day, I cornered Jade at the roof door. Why are you avoiding me? To my surprise, she tried to run. But how could she outrun someone nearly 6 feet tall? I easily grabbed her wrist.
Jade.
Tell me why you're avoiding me. She flinched at my shouting. I noticed her complexion was terrible, her skin sickly pale. I couldn't help but soften my grip and asked carefully. Did someone bully you again? Tell me, and I'll teach them. No, she answered quickly, biting her lip as she looked up at me. No one did. Then why are you avoiding me? I was confused. She lowered her head again, her voice distant. I'm afraid people will see. Afraid people will see? In that instant, the image of her on the phone with someone flashed through my mind. I looked at her in shock. I thought I understood why she was avoiding me. She had fallen for someone else. And it wasn't me.
9.
After that, we went back to our previous state of ignoring each other. Except this time, it was me who set the boundary. But whenever I saw her hurrying off campus after school, seemingly rushing to meet someone, my heart still ached. This didn't last long because Jade slipped a note into my desk. Meet me at our place after school. A month later, I saw her again on the roof. She confessed to me there. Ethan, I like you. I thought I was dreaming. I slapped myself hard to check. Slap. It was loud and painful. This wasn't a dream. I stared at her blankly. What did you say? In the sunlight, Jade turned and gave me a brilliant smile. I said I like you. The surprise came too suddenly. For a moment, I forgot the pain. I wanted to rush over and lift her high, wanted to hold her in my arms, wanted to tell the whole world that Jade was my girlfriend.
Jade.
I'm so happy. I want to tell everyone you're my girlfriend. But in the next instant, Jade's expression changed. She looked at me seriously. Ethan, you absolutely cannot tell anyone about this. You can't tell anyone. Absolutely not. Though confused, the sudden joy made me dizzy. I foolishly agreed. Later, I often thought if I hadn't agreed, then maybe things would have been different. Maybe Jade wouldn't have died. Ultimately, I was too stupid. 10. I experienced a brief and blissful time. Jade and I still gathered on the roof during breaks and after school. The difference was that she'd look at me tenderly, tell me stories, patiently help me with homework. I was so happy, like living in a dream. Until she died. That day was the day before the college entrance exam. Jade had told me the day before that she'd go straight home after school. But just as I left the gate, I received a text from Jade. Come to the roof. At first, I was thrilled, thinking she wanted to talk about the exam pressure. I replied, okay, and turned toward the teaching building. I'll never forget that day. At dusk, the setting sun was like blood. Under that fiery, tragic sunset, a leaf slowly floated down and crashed in front of me, and something warm splattered my face. Only when I got closer did I realize it wasn't a leaf at all. It was Jade, drenched in blood. 11. Jade had fallen from the roof. Police found the roof key on her. There was no camera on the roof, and the cameras on the approach were too old to function. So police quickly concluded suicide. But I knew this wasn't suicide. The school and police knew it too. The railing on the roof still bore marks of violent impact. Jade had been pushed. But without evidence, unable to find the killer, they simply closed the case. I hated it. After that year's college entrance exam, students leaving the exam didn't care about their scores. What they said most was, "Suicide before the exam. So unlucky. If I fail the exam this year, I'll go piss on her grave." Too many such words, too many vile voices flooded my ears. I knelt in pain, wanting to tell them, "No, it's not. Jade didn't commit suicide. She had such a bright future ahead." In that moment, I swore in my heart, no matter how many years pass, no matter what happens, I will find the killer who murdered Jade. I will kill them.